Welcome to the People United Chronicles. We've been confronted with lots of challenges in the world, and it seems like there's more dystopian things than there is anything else. We're we're separated, we're adversarial and competitive. We don't build community. What we have built is a lot of independence that is not organized, and it's led to lots of problems, in our opinion. And for the past 3.5 years, People United, the three of us and Vicky, have been working to find a program, some kind of action plan that can get us so that we can do something and bring people together. Because it's the fundamental problem we have is that there are 8 billion of us, and there are probably a few thousand people who we're the good guys, 8 billion of us people. And there are maybe 10,000, 5,000 people who are organizing to control the governments of most of the countries of the world. And there has been a real problem in trying to get people to wake up and feel like they're empowered so that we can do something to come together with strength in numbers, unity, and solidarity. And we just finished a film called Breaking Bread with Strangers. And Francesco, you were involved with organizing and running that meeting. Tell us a little bit about what happened in that meeting and what you thought were the most important points.
I think that the whole concept of getting 5 or 6 people together who don't know each other and just start talking was the experiment. 5 very different people, people who came from different backgrounds, people who had different ethnicities, different political agendas, and things like this. But what was so beautiful was when we came together face to face, so different than what would happen in a social media environment, people defaulted to being human and kind to each other and wanting to find what was common rather than what was divisive. And that wasn't like pushed on anybody. That just happened. And it was the beautiful result of the experiment of what happens when you bring people together and don't antagonize them, but talk about what makes us strong, what makes us unified. And nobody thought about how different they were. Nobody, a blonde didn't think about she was a blonde woman, or a Latino guy didn't think he was a Latino guy. We were humans. And I think that was the magic and what People United is all about.
Yeah. Well, if we can come together with people like that don't know each other for the most part, and to see how they react to being together and know that what we're interested in is building community of some kind, or see if it's even possible. Uh, it was a roaring success. I know when it was over, I had tears in my eyes. I couldn't believe that we'd actually achieved that, and that we had an hour and 45 minutes of continuous filming. And from that, we got 50 minutes of a film that's now completed, that shows the story of how that worked. It was mind-opening, the heart resonance that was that was shown by the people that were in this video was a dominant theme. Uh, I think people felt like they were family
Yeah.
during the film and after. In fact, they commented on that.
And nobody wanted to leave after we finished recording. These strangers in less than 2 hours were so interested in each other as people. And that's the cool thing. And you guys are up right now. What's so unique about our recording tonight is we're doing this live from Idaho. And I'm remote, but you two have been spending time with Vicky and David in your community. And your
Yeah,
community has been a mirror, a Coeur d'Alene, of what happened in the Breaking Bread video project.
yeah, and let me chime in on this. And what I found was very interesting, um, because you guys had heard kind of the community building stuff and all we're doing, and while you were working the Breaking Bread series, and it was we didn't really, when we were talking about the Idaho community, it was about the community coming together and you know, helping people out, the food bank stuff, all the stuff in the community. pulling together to just, you know, break the chains of the system to where we focused on us and not all the BS going on around you. And what I found, which was very curious, is when we had a big barbecue with a bunch of our neighbors and a bunch of stuff going on. And what we did is we sat down at the table, just like what you guys were doing with the film, and the exact same thing happened.
Mm,
And it was
beautiful.
incredible. And nobody knew my dad and Vicky. They knew me, but it was all of a sudden the floodgates of the conversation got opened, right?
Yeah.
Hmm,
And it was so symbiotic of what you guys were doing that it was just it was so intertwined. It was amazing, and it was the same concept. And I don't know if you want to call it morphic resonance. What do you want to call it? But it kind of like put the field out there, and the exact same thing happened,
Yeah, we joined the
beautiful.
field is what
and
happened.
it was amazing.
Yeah.
So the idea here in this experiment is maybe we have all been duped that people come together and argue and people come together and they're broken into separate pieces. Maybe the system we've been experiencing that we've called reality, that we call normal, of Republicans and Democrats and conservatives and liberals has all been a scam. And that's kind of a weird thing because people go, no, of course it's not a scam. It's real. It's been going on. Well, that's how we get duped. That's how we've been tricked because we've been given a false identity and we bought it hook, line, and sinker. But when we see these kinds of experiments with different people coming together, that's not what happens. So our whole premise here is that if we continue this idea of giving a people a chance to be real and authentic and sovereign, they're not going to argue. Of course, we'll have differences, but the core energy will be let's build community. Let's build peace and friendship because that is what sustains humans.
It's
Ye-
inspirational
Yeah,
is what it is.
it is. And let me chime back in on this. And what I saw is when people were getting together, there was no arguments um about, you know, we can all have our opinions of political BS going on in the world, but people started listening to each other and say, you
Exactly.
know, and one guy be saying, I never looked at it that way. And maybe there are solutions to correct this. And the foundation really actually is what we've said all along. It starts with a community-based thing, and the community widens and it spreads out, and people actually really care about each other, and all the differences get completely put aside, and that's the magic of that.
That is the magic. And Len, don't you feel that there is a sense of a movement of energy when it goes from individual opinion to group cohesiveness? Don't people have a natural, you're a medical doctor, you've seen, don't people have a natural sense of moving toward what is common and best for everybody?
When things get bad enough, I believe in humanity. I am sure that we come together. We always have when there's been a disaster of some kind, for example, a tsunami or an earthquake or bombs go off. We come together in a way where you'll give the shirt off your back to almost anybody who's having a hard time. And that's what we have. I think what we can do is speed up the transition from having things not be as bad as they can get, because life is still pretty good here in the US in lots of ways, but we've lost our control of our government. We are disenfranchised. We don't feel like we can do anything by ourselves. There's not much inspiration to think that we can come together, and for the most part, we don't. But what we're trying to do at People United is teach that that's possible. And the idea is to build strength in numbers, unity, and solidarity, and create a movement that we're committed to because we know it's our only way out.
And what did it feel like when you dropped into David's community in Coeur d'Alene? What was that? You and Vicky are there. You're not part of it. You hadn't been part of the continuum. Did you feel accepted? Did you feel like you were included?
Absolutely. I mean, they were very open. And of course, I'm David's father, and he introduced me as somebody that he respects and thought that I might be able to help the people, or we could help the people of Coeur d'Alene to come together. And maybe we could do some kind of interview of the people from Coeur d'Alene at some point in time and see
Uh,
what they think. Because what we did in our first movie Breaking Bread is show that we can come together and we can work together as a community. What we want to look at now maybe is some of the big problems that we have in different cities. Maybe go to Minnesota and see what the problem with ICE is, or go to New York and see what's going on with the new mayor that's a socialist or communist, and see what they think about that, and listen to them. Because one of the problems we have is that we have talking heads telling people what to do, and they're not all the same. And there are lots of talking heads out there that are raising good points that we need to pay attention to, but they aren't teaching us or helping us to find or inspiring us to come together as a community. And that's what People United is about, is to try and make that happen. If we can inspire people to do that and have confidence that it's worth their time to go out of their way, because you know, we're doing things almost reflexively. We get up at 6, home at 6, eat dinner, watch the kids for a few minutes, do that, then go to bed and do that 6 or 7 days a week. That's not the way you build a community that is really inspired to do things that are good for the whole. We need to find a way to do that, and I think that we can. It's the governments that are the problem. It's not the people. The people of every country are wonderful people. They're human. They want to build community. They all want to be taken care of. They're looking for safety, for food, for relaxation, for inspiration to be part of something bigger than themselves. We can, I think we can do that with these kinds of meetings that we're talking about.
Yeah, and I wanna jump back into one thing about this that could really actually be a trap, and it's a very important point. Talking about building community, you want to make sure that you do not fall into that herd mentality. You really got to isolate the independent people in their thoughts and their visions. It's very easy to get trapped in that game of all of a sudden we're a collective herd. No, 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 no. You do that, the whole thing gets blown up. So it's got to be, you really have to focus on listening to what each person's saying, and really hearing their what's going on in their life. And it's not a herd group. It's individuals that start at the heart and share the wisdom with the others that really makes the community build. And then you get into the stuff like my father's talking about, and you start driving this forward. And it always, as you would say, Francesco, it starts with yourself. It has to start within. And you you really don't want to get trapped in we're all the same type thing. That's just a warning sign that I thought I'd throw out.
I think we
Yeah,
can
and
do
I
more.
think that's the beauty of what People United is about. Says, let's honor the uniqueness of everybody.
Hmm.
Let's go to that one thing that really ties us together, which is our heart, and not the physical beating heart, the heart that says, I care about my family, I care about others, I care about myself to be healthy enough to be somebody who could be kind and participate in my community. All of a sudden, keeps going back to others as individuals. So when sovereign individuals come together, nothing can break that.
Yeah, and what is
And
what is the definition of sovereign, right?
yeah, and that means value. I mean, remember, sovereign comes from the old word of a sovereign gold piece. That means value. When we don't value ourselves, we become a herd mentality. Because when people forget who they are and their value, they look outward and they listen to the news, or they listen to the government, or they listen to their leaders who have other agendas than their sovereignty. When we get sovereign people to come together in a sovereign community, and communities that are sovereign come together as sovereign communities, let me tell you, this is not rocket science. We can start shifting things in a big way.
People become authentic in that setting, and that's what we're looking for. And people who are willing to make changes in how they uh, behave and what's important to them by listening to them.
Right.
Most organizations that are trying to make the world a better place are trying to give instructions to people about what to do. And what needs to happen, I mean, that's okay. But what really needs to happen is that people have to put their own skin in the game and figure out what it is that's important to them. And we need to listen to them to create a protocol that allows us to build a platform of the things we can agree upon. That'll bring us together. And then at some further time, when there's strength in numbers, we can identify things that are more controversial because we have a voice. What we're looking for is a voice. And our voice has literally disappeared
Right.
because we don't have representatives that we elect that pay attention to what we want. They
Right.
make
Because
promises.
as long as we're left as individuals, we have no voice.
That's right.
In the sense of, you know, you feel like you're alone. Community is the amplifier. It's the natural amplifier because people connect at the heart. That's the nature of community. When you're hanging out with the Coeur d'Alene people, everybody's come together to be together, not come together to fight something, not come together to prove anything. They've come together simply to be together as individuals in honor. Who picks up a guitar? Who flips the burgers? Who is telling a story? This is individuals coming together in a way that weaves a fabric. And I think listening is what People United is all about. That's the whole idea of our pilot film is we listened to those five people. We didn't tell them anything. We let them speak. And if we can continue this story and go, like you said, city to city, maybe we go to Coeur d'Alene next, we record this, we start to find out what does it mean when people can speak on their own and speak from their heart and then watch somebody who's watching that video go, I agree. I feel the same way. This is when we start seeing the weave and the power of individuals.
Yeah, and it goes even deeper when one person in the community needs help, the rest of the community comes in and helps them, you know?
Absolutely. And
And
that's
that
the default. And that's our premise here is that that will happen. It will not turn into a fist fight. It will not turn into a battle where the group splits in half. We never have seen that. But
yeah,
where we have seen that on television, where we've seen it from the media, where it's been propagated, we know we've been gamed.
that
And
will blow the whole system up if people if we could spread this out. It'll blow it up.
it's the Wizard of Oz thing. It's pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Exactly.
Pay no attention to the manipulation that's taking place, that's taking you out of your sovereignty because it scared you to think that maybe that's real.
Well,
And we
I
saw
think
that in COVID. We've seen it in so many different places. We've seen it in the Maidan massacre in Ukraine. This has taken place more and more and more. And I think people are waking up that there has been we'll call it an evil, creepy hand behind this stuff. It's not coming from individuals.
a good leader is someone that can be a good follower. And you can't lead unless you know what the people in your community think. So you have a constituency that is not working anymore for the most part because it takes a couple of $1 million to get elected to Congress. And who has that? Oh, you find is oligarchs have it, big corporations have it, and then you're in debt to them if you're one of these people who have been elected to what they want, not what their constituency wants. So if we can start doing that and add to what other people are disclosing as problems in the culture because of what's happened in the last 250 years, things will be changing. And I think that we don't have to wait till there's a tsunami. we can start that now. And that's what we're doing, hoping that if we listen well enough, they'll tell us what they want. It's like,
We are the tsunami.
yeah, that's right.
We are the tsunami. Each of us, every community that comes together is a carrier wave of that tsunami. And we have to remember that. And so when we're individuals getting angry about a topic and subject, we're cut out of the system. When a community comes together, 20, 30 people, doesn't have to be gigantic, and they carry a cohesive sense of things. How does that ripple into the energetic field?
Big time.
Right? So what do you think your Coeur d'Alene community, why is there even a thing that's called the Coeur d'Alene community? Because it's carrying a coherence of aligned thinking, not people who are in a hive mind, like you said, David, but because their hearts are woven together, knowing the differences, but also knowing the power of that community keep staying cohesive. This is what People United is all about.
Yeah, and this is where you separate yourselves, all of us, from the system that's trying to actually frickin' kill us.
It's hard to admit that. And for the average person, they don't want to admit that. And they have a resistance to think that any kind of big daddy, big mama is going to ever hurt them. But this is when they've lost their own individual sovereignty. In other words, they've lost their own value. By listening to people, I think people start to reveal their value. And I think that's what's so beautiful. And what we saw in the Breaking Bread with Strangers is I sensed that at the end of that hour and 45 minutes, people felt valued and they felt their own inherent value.
Yeah. Well, the brainwashing has gone really deep. When you can have a government convince you that you should have your kids fight somebody else's kids and kill each other in a war, that's the most bizarre thing. I mean, it's shocking that's happening. Why can't we get together and do something to help people to see that and to realize we've been gamed into believing that. I mean, people think that they should join the Army or the Navy or Marines and fight for their country. That's not really solving that at all. All it does is kill a lot of people. And then eventually, when things are bad enough, the war ends and we sit down at the table and do what we should have done in the first place. So one of the things we have to change is the way government works. It has to go back to us having people that we elect that are going to be listening to their constituencies and following what needs to be done from that point of view. We can't go on as we are, or it's just going to continue the same way.
There's an unfortunate part to this, but it's actually a good thing. It's called breaking chains, right? Break the chains, and it's probably it's gonna we're gonna go through it. It sure appears to be that way, but we've got to let it collapse, and then we have to have a response of how to not build it back better their way, build it back better our way.
Well, maybe we can do that sooner than when it collapses, but I agree that that's usually what happens, and that's why there's civil wars and wars, period, is because we wait till that time. If we can
I don't have faith in the top-down change. I mean,
no,
the system is so poisoned, and people are so psyoped, psychologically operated, and it's okay. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think what it does, though, is it forces the hand to say the only solution is bottom up, and the only bottom up solution is community building.
That's right.
And listening to those communities and trusting those communities, because that's real, that's tangible. 25 people can get together and consistently. I mean, we're doing that here in Asheville. We've got a commitment now. We've had our first meeting, 12 people. This next one's coming up this coming month. Already 5 or 6 more people want to join. Taking it organically. If people can organically grow that way, they keep their value, they maintain their value along the way. This is real. That's doable. Changing a senator who's taking bribes that are legal bribes called PAC money, Political Action Committee money. This is sick. That system will never change. So I don't have any faith in that system changing, but I do have faith in enough communities, and it might take a few years, but enough communities coming together they'll stop breaking into Republican Democrat groups and they'll be communities. And I know it in my heart. You will have as many Republicans, old Republicans, as old Democrats in that group. You'll have equal amount of conservatives and liberals, and they'll start realizing they share common values. That's powerful voting block manipulation from the bottom up.
There are a lot more things we agree upon than we differ. And if we can start a platform that includes those, it has to move forward because it's what the people want. We can let them decide by listening to what they have to say. I'm inspired that this can be achieved.
Yeah, and our task at People United is to inspire community building and to look to others. As you always point out, David, there's tons of people already doing that. Mm-hmm. So People United isn't unique. We're just also taking a charge to say, let's continue to do that and let's celebrate the community builders. Let's celebrate the people out there who are doing good things, whether it's a food bank. It could be around some of the most innocuous things, the things that look like they're not really important, but they are. Because everything that's community building based is setting the new world order from the bottom up.
Yeah. And the community based stuff is really symbiotic because when it starts going, people are like, yeah, this is working, and more people come in. And all of a sudden it reaches that tipping point, and it doesn't take long to where everybody's looking out for each other.
Absolutely. I know that's the default.
Like, screw the system, right? We don't need them. We're going to focus on our stuff. Let them implode themselves. But you got to focus just on what's around you. And you're starting to see that happen. And it's happening faster than I actually thought it was going to. Everything's ramping. But once you get into that groove with the community, it's incredible.
Yeah, it's the only healing that I can see realistically. I can have fantasies about changing this and that. Those are fantasies. The only realistic solution, short of alien intervention, is
well, that's plausible.
That's plausible. But what we can do right now is to say, let's all commit to building communities. Mm-hmm. And if you're watching this and you've got 5 people, that's a community. If you can take those 5 people and meet 5 more people, that's twice as big a community. And they're a great community, right? It will snowball. Mm-hmm. And People United is there to inspire and to have the tools like we have on our website for the map that shows these communities. We're working with other people who are building communities, and this is part of it. This is why the storytelling is so important, why listening to people is important, and why we're raising money. We're working on a funding project now to get more funds to be able to do more of these films in different cities. And I think this will move the needle and inspire people.
Yeah. Well, I think that says what we're here to say today. If we can listen and we can care, and we can move from being individual people who are concerned about their own families and just themselves, it's not going to work. We're going to find, because we really already know that when you're talking about love, it's about giving and sharing, and it's something that you get by giving and sharing to other people. It's not something that you just take, because it's not that way. So if you can build community and listen to what people have to say and do it the way they want to, which is what our job is to find out what that is, there should be community that becomes widespread.
Beautiful. Well, that's why People United made the commitment to go to Coeur d'Alene to see what David and his tribe has been building. And so thank you for going there with Vicki, Len, and maybe ask Vicki to come in and what you could see what you two guys have made that step to go all the way up to Idaho to see it with your own eyes and to see what it means to be part of the community and how well you were accepted. Plus, it's hard not to accept Vicki anyway, for heaven's sake. She won't let you get off the hook. But thank you both for going up there and to be there and to see what David's been working on, and from the food bank to the community gardens and the meals together. How'd that feel, Vicki?
This is it really is a wonderful community. They just welcomed us in right from the beginning, and I feel like we're family.
Mm. This is it. This is the thing that will give people the faith to keep doing that in their worlds. And if we can trust this, these worlds will merge together and we'll make the change that we really all know in our heart is real.
It's what we all want. We crave to be loved and to share the things that we have in common. And that's
Amen.
what community is all about.
And we have to do this.
That's right.
Right, exactly. We're at the point where we don't really have much of a
We
choice.
have no choice at this point.
So that's beautiful. That means life force is behind us. And I think we are blessed. So thank you all. And this is a great message. And if you're watching this, trust and follow it and do it your way. We got your back. That's what People United is about.
All right. Until
In Lakesh.
I like yes.
until
Peace.
next time.